I really wanted to see this move up here, but so far it's all been NQ. Sitting at the downside pivot. Side pivot. 370. YM's taking us down here. NQ is still rising high. I just wanted to see a little bit of upside before we see downside. Before we even get it. Positioning wise, we have a potential move down to 73.30. Potential move to 73.30, and that's where things really start slowing down. Underneath 73.50 and through to 73.30. Start really slowing down. How much upside? NQ is still holding its upside move after the previous day low sweep that it did this morning. I really want to see a move up and then a move down. I'm biased down towards 73.35, 73.40 area at the very least. No previous day low sweep on ES yet. The positioning is pretty thin in general. Nothing too crazy to look at here, except for the put spread at 73.25, 73.30. Hey, Koshik. You had a pretty decent trade yesterday. Still 30 points away from the gap fill. I don't think we're gonna gap fill today, but I gotta keep it at the forefront of my mind just to see here. Oh, I forgot to adjust my straddles. Oops. 40 points will take us to 30. We start 70, we open 70. So that would be 47.10. That's about a 40-point straddle to start the day. VIX May settlement official. Oh, today is VIX expiration. Oh yeah, today's Wednesday. Okay, that makes sense. So today VIX expires away. That was no, today's Tuesday. What am I talking about? Is it correct? Is it because of the Juneteenth holiday that everything is kind of moved ahead? That's odd. So NQ touched the 15-minute fair value gap that I wanted to see it touch. Decent rejection so far. I wanted to see ES move a bit higher too, but nothing. You said, oh, I see. US pending home sales. All right, I'll be looking forward to that one. 10. Still think down is the path. Just finding a low risk entry is going to be a tough one. $23.60. Wow, what a move by ES. Holy cow. $23.60. 370. Yeah, this thing seems like it wants to just sink right to 73.30 right now. Towards there. Previously low is just about 5 points lower, 4 points lower on ES. Very close to previous day low there. $73.37. US 10-year yields are up and just starting to like really push up as if it's breaking out of this consolidation zone that it's been in since 2023. There's a trend line break too. US 2-year yield, which is a good proxy for the Fed fund rate, is at 4.1. Fed fund rate is between 3.5 and 3.75. So I think the speed at which the US 2-year and the US 10-year rate is moving, the rate of change, it's going to cause some, well, I guess that's why we're seeing this pullback finally. Yep, not much up this morning. It's really heavy. There's the previous day low sweep. Number is down, so anything to the upside, it's very much like what you did yesterday. Anything to the upside, I would probably trail very tightly. Still some good SMT here. Still nothing for me today. No pre-market trades. No overnight trades. Nothing crazy. Oh, one sec. The negative gamma cluster or negative dealer strike clusters here, causing some localized negative gamma. Runs us up to about 73.85, 73.90. Could even push us to 7,400. But I don't know if we can even push beyond this 73.70 level. I always hesitate when there's a gap above that hasn't been closed. And we had just swept the previous day low on ES with decent SMT between ES and NQ. But I didn't get anything. I think I'm a little too biased down today to not play that sweep. Also, like the 1 minute just rocketed. Like, I think that rocket on the 1 minute was a 15 point candle. So it makes it really hard for me to long that without a decent pullback. I see we did tap the 1 minute fair value gap, but didn't really love it though. It would have still left me with over 10 points of risk. At this point, I guess I'm waiting until about 10 o'clock. Yeah, this thing looks like it's gonna soar up and do the gap fill, eh? Because you have the consolidation that happened between 5:30 through to about 9:15. So that's almost a 4-hour consolidation. Yet the manipulation moved down, collects previous day low liquidity, and then the run up. So now it's distributing. And you would think it would rise up towards like 74.23. And maybe another, yeah. I'd like to see the gap fill at this point. I don't think I can play it though. Still have some SMT between ES and NQ. YM is now on a rocket. Holy cow. Too bad that manipulation downwards couldn't run through that 73.63 level that I want. I've been wanting to kind of see that as a sweep level for the run up. Like I thought that would have been our best shot for a potential gap fill. Wow. YM just did like a V-shaped recovery off that massive tank down for today. Yeah, today's gonna be hard. Holy smokes. We got the 15-minute engulfing candle on ES. But this could... Yeah, I'm a little too 50-50 in this range here as to what we might do. No real setup for me. There is SMT between ES and NQ at the highs there too, but shadow at 946. Walkmans. 4-6. Hang on. Someone had requested the straddle at around 928, and the straddle was sitting at 30. But when I requested it at 920, the straddle was 41 or 40.9. Very odd. Let me see. 946. The straddle is green. Yeah, I think the straddle was in the 40s. So at 946, we're looking at a straddle price of about 40, 42 maybe. I'll send you over the a screenshot. It looked to be around like 42. Since then, it's dropped off to about 37. Funky price action here. And we're headed right back down. The news came and went, but there wasn't much to it. NATO to consider a Hormuz deployment if the strait not opened by July. Top NATO commander, the U.S. decision to redeploy an armored brigade from Europe will not impact the executability of NATO's defense plans. So sounds like escalation to me. Wow, this is amazing. We are just running. Looks like we're gonna hit the 63 level now. Got 46 here. It seems to all be driven by NQ this time. YM is just kind of holding, just ranging at the moment. Yeah, that 946 low that you mentioned went like 30 some odd points. Pretty wild. It's a long NQ around here, but not interested anymore. Yeah. I would want to see the May 12th. The May 12th lows get taken out first to consider any long. And even then it might overrun it. Like this here I have measured as a little HVN. Hang on, let me transition. Yeah, a little HVN here. It's a low volume no. It's the value area low based on the time frame that I've chosen. So basically from May 5th. Ten more points down here would take us to 7338 on SPX. All right, we're running it now. Let's see. Straddle lows towards 73.30. Getting pretty close to there already. NQ did sweep. Check NQ on the 1 hour here. $639. Horizontal line there at 639. Something to pay attention to. So we got to bounce off the last edge, which was around yesterday. It was yesterday we bounced off the last edge. Decent bounce off of there. So let's see how we do at 28,637. That edge of node. Let's clean here. Four hour. Maybe even around here. It's 20 points. I think we just got the sweep. SPX did not run the sweep yet, so no reaction off that sweep. And it starts slowing down beneath this. Everything starts acting a little bit more supportive from a dealer's hedging flow perspective. from a dealer's hedging flow perspective, you start getting that positive gamma or positive dealer positioning, which is in fact positive gamma. Yeah, below 73.30, I think that's a harder play, in my opinion. Yeah, from a volume profile perspective, there's not a lot that's very clean right now. All right, there is the SPX liquidity level from May 12th. Yeah, if short right now, I would say take profit around 73.30. Like this is already kind of like slowing down. I got a little bit more to go, but the difference right now is 73.37, 9. So still about 20-point difference between ES and SPX. Maybe I should have paid attention more to like VWAP there, because VWAP held. UAE Defense Ministry has detected and dealt with 6 drones launched from Iraq in the past 48 hours. Top NATO commander, a total of 5,000 US troops will be pulled out of Europe. Russia has cut estimates for total pipeline natural gas exports outside the ex-Soviet Union. And the price for gas exports to China 2027 to 29. US-China trade truce can be extended, but Washington not rushing November deadline. US and China will initially identify $30 billion of non-critical goods that could face reduced or no tariffs under the Board of Trade Protocol. US-China consultations on AI guardrails to prevent proliferation of powerful models likely to begin in the next 4 to 8 weeks. Meeting planned with Chinese Vice Premier. September White House visit to work through the trade details. China understands Section 301 investigations could bring U.S. tariffs back to levels seen. What happened to that? Seen before Supreme Court decision annulling some duties. Five-minute candle would normally be my cup of tea. 7335 low. Yeah, I think you're right, but I can't pull the trigger. I think you're right. 335 low. Yeah, I think you're right. That 5-minute candle is definitely like something I normally like. Not a bad spot. Not a bad spot at all. I'm going to cheerlead for you. Need to go break it even ASAP. Yeah, I know. I know. It was a tough one. Like, I was looking at it, and by the time, like, I got above the 50-50 for the entry, I was like, hey, I'm already, like, sitting at, like, 8-point potential stop loss. So I figured I'd just let this one go. That's on ES, by the way. Oh, man. Like, why can't it just rocket? Are you at break even? Yeah, that was a potential re-entry for me, but I'm not gonna take this one. I don't. There's something that I don't like about it. Don't get me wrong, that 5-minute candle, that's something that would sucker me in every single time. And I think it still might play out. I'll consider that one good management. There's just something about today that wants to just drift lower. But at that low 73.35, I think it's not a bad spot to take a long by any means. Is this where it starts picking up some speed? Yeah, depending on when you enter, it matters so much today, especially for the break even stop loss. Because if I do long, I would break even almost instantly. Like, or move my stop loss to break even. That's funky. That's very funky. I hate the way it did that. Yeah, where I would have entered was like 8-point stop loss. And I'd be panicking. And I don't think I would have taken profit there either. So let's say a 64 entry-ish. 64 entry. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken profit there. I would have liked to see one of the 5-minute fair value gaps. The one at 7.8. And then there's another one at 90 on ES. Yeah, this is ugly down here. I kind of want to see it grind this positive gamma zone out. Maybe push a little lower. Push below the 73.25. That would be nice, but there's about 8,000 positions sitting there. Yeah, they're making it hard for anyone that wants to go long here. Where are we at on the daily? People who trade 1R can survive these conditions. Yeah, you're right. So with me, sometimes like I kind of don't let my trade play out for like the full R, like risk reward. Which is kind of funky, I know, because it messes up your statistics. But I also don't have a very like algorithmic entry model. Like there's a lot that I'm always looking at. Sometimes I might rely on the VIX a little more, and then other times I might rely on like an SMT between ES and NQ a bit more. So it's not but I think you have a general idea of what I'm looking at generally. But it doesn't seem like a clear-cut algorithmic entry model from trade to trade. But I would always measure to make sure my R is above 1. For the first take profit. So like I would say, hey, yeah, worst case scenario, what happens here? If I'm just looking at ES here. Hang on, let me switch over. Oh. Yeah, for instance, like I'd look at this. Oh man, my colors are way off. I think you can still see that. So for instance, I would measure like, hey, where am I going to enter here? And if my potential entry was like around 9.4, let's say. So my stop loss is somewhere around like 8.25, maybe one tick lower. And if I went long there, my initial take profit would have probably been here at the 5-minute ADMA, just in case we're still trending down. And I find that the 5-minute ADMA taps are normally pretty good for trend downs, if it is in fact a trend down. So I would measure that and I say, hey, yeah, don't like it, not here, because this take profit might have been at best just under 1R, because I think the 5-minute ADMA was a little bit higher here. So it'll just be under 1R. And if that's the case, I wouldn't really, like, to me, it wasn't a good trade for me. If I still believe in the narrative, and maybe I get an entry that looks like this, now it's starting to look good. 4-point stop loss, and then a run to 12 points. So you're looking at about 3R, right? And that looks a lot better. So like, that's what I would try to do with my entries. It's like, hey, this is worth a shot here, in my opinion, if I get this entry. But I also didn't really truly believe in the narrative this time around, just based on how slow it was moving. Mind you, it still went. And you're right, like, it's not, from an algorithm perspective, like if I had to code this, it would be nearly impossible, because every trade will look a little different. Some trades won't even have ADMA here, right? Depending on how much we trended. And then other times I would aim for like this fair value gap, for instance. Like this would be where I would want my first TP officially. I thought it would be faster. And here you're looking at a 4R. And then ultimately maybe a tap off of VWAP, which would be like a 6R trade. But that's kind of what goes through my head when I'm doing like a reversal trade, a mean reversion kind of trade. I think, hey, okay, that's a 10-point stop loss. I don't want it. If it comes lower, I may give it a shot if my narrative, if the narrative in my head is still holding true. So far, it worked out well, in my opinion, to the ADMA at the very least. But nothing about this price action looks lovely. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a tough one. So like the copy trading, this is why I don't love the copy trading. And so for instance, let's say you have account 1 and we entered there's account 1. Basically entered there, okay? But the take profit, let's just disregard the take profit for now. Account 2 maybe you get a nicer entry, you still believe in the narrative, you basically had a DCA. So your risk reward ends up being quite a bit better. And maybe you're aiming for this fair value gap here, let's say, which it didn't end up going to, but for argument's sake, let's just look at the R. So this is what I learned from that Matt guy, day trading with Matt, who I don't really watch anymore, because it became more of like an entertainment type of thing. But what he teaches is basically don't copy trade, have multiple DOMs up, so that way you can hit enter where you want it to enter, and then for the next account, hopefully you have a better risk reward. And in this case you do, and then all you have to do is just hit enter again. And one has a 8-point stop loss, the other one has a 4-point stop loss. And the risk reward is so drastic. Sometimes you won't get an entry here on that second entry. Sometimes it just goes, in which case you get a nice run off of that first account 1 entry. But account 2 would stay stagnant because you didn't get the entry you wanted. But for you, like, you're trading on Trade-of-8 anyways, right? And I think Trade-of-8, you can have multiple accounts operating from the same prop firm. So I think you can have multiple DOMs too. I think that's why the trade with Matt guy, he uses Trade-of-8 for that reason, I believe. Because he can have multiple DOMs up with different accounts selected. And he just, account 1, he'll be able to enter by just hitting market enter or something along those lines. And then same thing for account 2. But it basically gives you, like, one account takes like the higher risk reward. The second account, you get the better risk reward, or the better risk reward. And then you can also take it off at different times too if you want. But that you have to work your own math out to see how you end up on top, because like how you take profit based on those entries will matter to each individual account, right? And it could kind of skew your success based on each account. So like I would always try to decipher between the two accounts. But it's essentially like a DCA, like dollar cost averaging, but one that you're able to use for prop firms. Because you're not allowed to, some prop firms don't allow you to DCA, right? In a single account. But I think most have gravitated away from that. But also you don't want a DCA in a single account because your risks, you only have so much daily risk you can take. And like, let's say your risk is like $500. You can only take like 4 trades, 4 losses in a row, right? Before you blow the account, if it's a $2,000 loss limit. And if you end up DCAing, you're going to increase that $500 risk to maybe a $700 risk. And it kind of messes everything up, right? Oh, you're in longs again. Seeing VIX tick up here. Decent SMT though. Between ES and NQ. I don't think I can take a long. I personally can't, not yet. Mainly because I would aim for a little bit higher. Like I would aim for that fair value gap at the very least. That's the only reason why I'm having a hard time longing at the moment. Looking pretty good so far. But yeah, like one thing I'm not seeing right now is like an IFVG to the upside. On that initial long from like 1020. Haven't seen anything. Like it almost seems like there's no momentum to the upside and there's always momentum to the downside. I think that's also a reason why I'm a little hesitant. But that's me, and I'd be aiming for like 70 78 or something like that on ES. And that makes me want a long now. have to think this is the long. That 5-minute candle close would have been like worth a try, in my opinion. That doji close. There you go. That one took me a little too long to decide to go long off that 15-minute doji, or 5-minute doji, sorry. The risk would have been about 4 points, 4 to 5 points. And reward would have already been 8 points. SMT too, so I think this one's gonna run to the fair value gap. Fair value gap, maybe even the POC VWAP. You just the orange man just try to sabotage your trade. It's almost as if he knew you entered the trade. Now this looks good, man. I love that that 5-minute doji. I would have went long, but before I was looking at a few other things and I didn't pay attention to that 5-minute. Let's go. Let's go, Koshik. Let's go. Sorry, I'm getting a little too excited for you. Let me take a look here. 73.55. 73.55. 73.52. You think we can sweep that 73.74 candle? That previous high? Ooh, 15-minute might close nicely too. Still got 35 seconds for the 15-minute to close. Let's see how the half hour looks. Half hour can use some work. What are you aiming for? $74, $78, or $85? If you have multiple, If you have multiple entries, then 74 is a good one. Or 78. And then the final one to 85. Yeah, 78 would be nice. Yeah, your stop's probably near break even. Where was your entry? Was it like around 60 or 58? Yeah, I agree. That 74 would have been a good one. 59.50? Yeah. 74. My bias is still bearish, but that's a good bounce to play. I would have been out at 74. There's a chance we go to 78, but damn, I think it's a tough one. Because the edge of node is like right here at 74. Yeah, that was the 74 sweep reaction. Honestly, that was a good floor. That 73.35 SPX area. I think that was a great floor. I would have wanted to see closer to 30. I think we ended up hitting 33. But yeah. It was a good floor for now. And then there's your decent pump up. Yeah, I definitely should have went in after the 5-minute doji. And it was SMT too. But yeah, I think this thing still has legs. You might actually get your 78. And then you can kick yourself later after it goes to 85. The POC actually moved down there. Like it just shifted lower. Initially, it was where VWAP was at. But 78 should be good. You would think. That was a 5-minute IFVG. Five-minute IFVG. Question is, Will we come back down to test the IFVG before going? Yeah, this is the reason why, like, they make it so hard to hold. Where's the momentum? Come on. $73.55. $73.55. Yeah. That's $73.57. There you go. Come on. Just pump up. Defy gravity. And there are a few reasons to take profit here. Just based on the dealer positioning too. 73.53. Was the high there. And it basically rejected off of this new negative, or this negative dealer positioning cluster. It might need some juice, and maybe that's when it comes back down, retest the 5-minute fair value gap for IFVG, and then maybe pump back up. But 74 was a good TP. Let's see if we can hold up here. 6.3. 4.3. Hopefully it holds here. Come on. Straddle 32, you do get paid in the form of better odds to take a stab at a pin near 30 and 35. Just reading some vol signal stuff. We're channeling here, but the straddle is still expensive. Base case, however, would be to see the marginally longer gamma in this range continue to anchor us as the charm influence points to 30-35 from above or below. There you go. I was hoping to see that 73.45 strike hold. And so far we're holding. So we bounce off that and then hopefully bounce into 73.55, 73.60. Hopefully. Oh yeah, let's go. Koshik, you still holding? And if you are still holding, are you sweating? Or are you pretty even in terms of emotions? 5 more points. There you go. Let's go. Not holding, but I think I can add something to my trade management from today. Not holding. Okay. So you already took it out? Took it off at around 74 or something? That was a good trade though. Oh, you like the 15-minute SMT. I see. Yeah. Interesting observation. Yeah, I think that one, I think you did well on that one. Like, I think above is kind of like an uphill battle here. Yeah, 15-minute SMT is interesting too. I see it on the 5-minute doji on ES is where I would have entered, and it would have been pretty low risk too. But man, what a shame that I missed that one. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would say you traded that one well, and if you manage your emotions well enough, then it was golden. Because there's a few different TPs that you could have taken, right? Or a few different TPs that we discussed, anyways, like 74, 78, and then 85. Whoa, that's actually really good. That's really good. Like, yeah, I think there was one video. I don't know if I sent it to you. It was also by Fabio Valentini, and he was talking about different strategies based on different account types. So he would say like, hey, yeah, for a live account, do this. For a prop firm account, you have to do this. And one of his recommendations was for prop firm accounts, you had to have a higher win rate, which is nuts that you're at 35 and you're still in the green. So there's something to be said about that. I don't know if you've seen that video yet, and if you haven't, I can find it for you and then send it to you. It was within the last week, I believe, that Fabio uploaded it. I think I timestamped that video for the prop firm section. It's worth a listen, I think. No, I haven't looked at the alien files yet. Actually, my Twitter hasn't even been updating me on that at all. But I thought it was like a very nice smoke and mirrors tactic. Like, hey, look over here while we do this over here. But I figured it'll be pretty entertaining. Anything worth noting in them? Oh, wow. That's pretty wild. Did he show the pictures of the species? If they're releasing in batches, that's perfect. That is totally the smoke and mirrors tactic. Just like, hey, yeah, we might have to attack Iran. So whenever we do have to attack Iran, we're gonna release a little bit more. Looks like 78 was the high. That fair value gap tap. Making movies on aliens and all. What are you thinking? Ooh. Okay, that's a pretty scary thought. I never really thought of it that way. I personally didn't even pay attention to any of this alien stuff, mainly because I thought it was like a smoke and mirrors tactic, like a magician would normally use. Yeah, my conspiracy theory brain didn't even go there. But I haven't, to be honest, I have not been diving into a lot of that stuff lately. I find that I do go through phases, and this current phase that I'm in is probably like I've been trying to get off the socials for the most part, like social media, and then there's phases when I go back into social media, and then I do start getting a lot of these conspiracy stuff because I normally listen or read into a lot of it. Oh yeah, yeah, the Avatar, the mechs, yeah. But shoot, I don't even know where the article is. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Man, I can't even find it anymore. I don't see much. I don't see many other things covering it, but I saw it on my Google feed. Unitree. Oh, actually, it looks like it's China's. It is definitely not the US. Yeah, it looks like it's China. This company is in China, I believe. Oh, yeah, that's true. Like, I think they're just like, wait, the UAVs, I thought they were like computer controlled by whoever is running the UAV from afar. Yeah, I'm definitely watching that same area too. Like, I would love a run down there and a run back up to this range at 73.30-ish for the end of day pin. But maybe we save it all for tomorrow. Who knows? Because that low there, 36 low, that would be about 73.16. Yeah, and if we can get there, I'll probably slap the longs. See if I can pass one of these accounts. But that's only if it happens today. But right now, it seems like we're holding up okay. Just kind of like messing around in this range between 73.30 and 73.60. Nothing pretty about this, in my opinion. But yeah, this price action is kind of atrocious, considering we hit 78 and then we came right back down, no new low, and then we're right back up again. All right, Koshik, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.